just gave another round of epi.
Okay. Still got nothing?
He's on a cold surface. He's starting to get rigid.
Okay, y'all. We're good. Thank you.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
I just want to know what really killed him, because it's kind of hard to accept that my son just died from natural causes. He's 21. He had his whole life ahead of him.
Austin 911, do you need police, fire, or EMS?
Before you get to the light on 51st and 183, a car had went off the road down into the pavement, down into the creek.
All right, stay on the line for me. I got help on the way, okay?
We got 2 occupants. They're being treated right now. They're working on getting them out of the creek.
The driver, he's standing in the creek bed, up to his waist for no discernible reason, just talking to himself and gesticulating with his arms.
He's transporting the driver to the New Dill Hospital. I'm going to follow.
You gotta seatbelt you up, but I'm still gonna try to leave it loose on you so you don't have to touch it, alright?
You're actually being charged with intox assault.
Intox assault?
Yeah.
What is that?
When a DWI results in an injury to another person, like a serious bodily injury, it gets enhanced to what's called an intoxication assault.
I'm not coming home. Ain't gonna be no coming home for that.
He called me from jail to let me know that he was arrested.
What did you think when you first saw him?
From what I seen, he had a busted eye vessel. His back and his shoulder and his legs was hurting from the impact. I told him he needed to go to medical and make sure that that wasn't something real severe. The only information that they had is that he went into a seizure inside his cell. I mean, my son doesn't have a history of seizures. He's played sports since he was 11 years old. I've kept him in football and basketball and track. We have to go through full physicals, so he's never had any type of heart condition.
When your lawyer tried to get information in the case, what happened?
They just kept giving him the runarounds. That's when he called me back and told me he couldn't take the case. If you're not wrong and you did everything by the book, then you have nothing to worry about. So why withhold the information?
I appreciate you hearing House Bill 3234. This is about closing a loophole and opening up some crucial information to public scrutiny. The intent of the bill isn't to cause any issues in an active case. What we're dealing with here are closed cases that fall into an exception that they shouldn't have.
House Bill 3234 will be left pending at this time.
We have to be better. We have to demand more of ourselves and our systems.
How will this information help you in the upcoming legislative session?
This data and information is something that members of the legislature didn't have going to last session. It's invaluable for someone like me. Presenting a bill now for the second time with evidence, it is one of our priority bills for the session.
I'm conducting an investigation into the questionable death of a Mr. Herman Titus. In doing so, I'm going to be interviewing everybody that had any kind of contact with him. Did he talk to you any, or talk to you about?
A little bit. I mean, basically all he talked about was his mom and his sisters. He's 21 years old. He's talking about getting out and straightening his life up. I mean, seemed like a good kid.
I know that he was in pain because he went and laid down and had himself covered up, and he was moaning and groaning and asking for ibuprofen.
He was up and down all night. He was on the floor. He was sitting with his head down on the table.
He goes, "My fingertips are numb and I feel like I'm gonna faint." That's what his words.
He was like breathing heavy. He went to medical the next morning.
This building called and said he was he had a medical emergency.
He was brought over to the clinic where I was working.
He was waiting to see a doctor.
He wanted to be seen immediately. I tried to calm him by talking to him. He said he was in a car accident.
So he felt sore, said his back and his neck hurt.
Then he asked if he was going to be charged by medical, and they told him yes.
They said he signed a refusal form and didn't want to pay for the emergency visit. I took him back to Building 12.
It's just hard to Monday morning quarterback the actions of folks without knowing, the critical nature of what you're facing at the time. So it's easy to look at the event and say, I wish we'd have done this differently, because obviously you have somebody who has passed in our care and custody, and that's a big deal to us.
Do you believe, or do you know if any of the guards took their time or neglected him?
I don't know. Apparently, due to what happened, he probably shouldn't have came back from medical. As far as I'm concerned, they didn't do their job.
And why would you say that?
He came back from medical, it wasn't a half hour later, and he was dead.
I thought that staff responded appropriately.
Nothing should have been done differently, in your opinion?
I didn't see anything to do differently, no.
There was a medical emergency called in Building 12. The inmate was having a seizure. Your CPR was in progress.
I just thought, you shouldn't even get this man to the hospital. Why isn't he going to the hospital?
Do you want me to do the next one, Tracy? I'm okay, actually. Hold on a minute. We have a pulse.
Whoa! Oh crap, sure do. Alright, CPR, get on the chest, get on the chest. Let's start over.
Was anyone disciplined from the jail staff in this incident?
Discipline for?
Anything?
No, there was no discipline.
I felt like I gotta go the rest of my life not knowing what really happened to my kid. And I'm supposed to get over it. I'm supposed to move on. He's not here. He can't enjoy this life with me. And I don't think it's right. Why does he get to enjoy the good life with me?
Any information Demisha Burns received came too late for her to file a personal injury lawsuit against Travis County. But with what evidence we obtained, she's exploring other legal options. It includes records of Titus being detained for being combative, restrained to a chair with no food, fluids, or medication, and then taken out of general population here in Building 12 and possibly put into lockdown for 15 days. His mother said he told her by phone he complained about his pain and got upset with guards, so they put him in lockdown. He filled out a form right here saying staff took his pain medication while on lockdown. The sheriff's office says even in lockdown, inmates get medical care, but in an interview, a nurse told investigators he had not been treated since the day after he got to jail. Finally out of lockdown, we know Titus played basketball. You see here on this surveillance video, it is hard to make out, but staff interviews say the very next day, the day he died, Titus went to medical and said he was sore after this game. His autopsy report even mentions him possibly being hit in the face or the head by another inmate in this rec yard, after which he complained of arm and back pain and numbness in his hands. But investigators say he had no bruises or signs of physical harm. Still, with such pain the day he died, why would he refuse medical treatment? Officers said he was impatient and didn't want to pay the fee for the visit, a fee we learned would have been just $10. The sheriff's office tells us inmates are never denied access to medical care if they can't pay, and if it's an emergency, they go to the hospital. Titus did sign this refusal form, but the reason he lists is too faded to make out on the copy we were provided. Also, the section the medical provider is supposed to sign after informing Titus of the risks of refusing treatment, well, it's blank. And then there is this video. The sheriff's office issued a corrective recommendation for jail staff to actually call 911 when it's requested. We showed this video to Austin Travis County EMS and the Austin Fire Department, whose crews you see here. They wrote, "It illustrates the professional men and women of those agencies working very hard to resuscitate Mr. Titus on one of the most physically and emotionally challenging call types we respond to on a daily basis." Because of our report, though, they've launched a clinical investigation with the Office of the Medical Director to look more closely at that response. This case is among the research we shared with Representative Joe Moody, who just last week filed his bill to eliminate the loophole in the upcoming legislative session in January. We'll keep you updated. Online now, Denied Evidence, the next chapter in our investigation into police transparency in Texas. We break down the numbers to show you the scope of this statewide problem, plus an interactive map of the law enforcement agencies taking advantage of this loophole when suspects die in custody. Click the agency to be taken to case file pages on each of those deaths. Also, explore the evidence that surfaced after we started investigating the Herman Titus case, and an interactive timeline of his stay in jail, including extended audio clips from interviews with inmates and officers. And if you missed the original investigation, we'll show you where to find it. It's all in this story in the investigative section of KXAN.com.